Revelation of what really happens when your prayer breaks witchcraft oppression. Listen carefully. This is not theory. This is revelation backed by testimonies, scriptures, and patterns that repeat themselves in the spirit realm. When a believer begins to pray accurately, consistently, and with authority, something happens beyond what the physical eyes can see. Darkness reacts, altars shake, oppressions collapse, and witchcraft responds. An ex-witch who came out of the kingdom of darkness testified that witchcraft is not fearless. It is bold only when unchecked. But the moment prayer rises with light, knowledge, and obedience, the table turns. Let me take you step by step into what really happens. When prayer begins to break their oppressions, the first sign is confusion. Suddenly, things that used to work stop working. Instruction becomes mixed. Ritual timings are mixed. Spiritual signals are distorted in the spirit realm. Witches rely on clarity, order, and synchronization. Prayer disrupts all three. That is why the scripture says, surely there is no enchantment against Jacob, neither is there any divination against Israel. When prayer rises, enchantment loses accuracy. In Ex-witch confess that at this stage, panic begins quickly, not outward panic, internal panic. They realize something is wrong, but they don't yet know why. The next thing they do is trace the source of resistance. They ask questions in the spirit realm like, who is praying? Where is the fire coming from? What covenant is speaking? In this case, they attempt to locate the believers spiritually through names, dreams, family lines, photograph, or post access points. This is why a believer must live a life covered in righteousness, because prayer without holiness can still leave spiritual footprints. But when prayer is backed by consecrations, tracing becomes difficult. Many operations fail at this stage because the altars cannot find spiritual access. And when tracing fails, they escalate. Emergency meetings are called. Night rituals increase. They fast. They chant longer. They repeat sacrifice. This is not because they are winning. It is because they are losing grounds. Darkness does not intensify unless threatened. The Ex-witch revealed that whenever prayers begin to scatter their works, leaders of covens demand urgency. This is when witchcraft activities suddenly spark at all hours. But scriptures already expose this. The Ex-witch reveals that whenever prayer begins to scatter their works, leaders of covens demand urgency. This is when witchcraft activities suddenly spark at all hours. Then, when this fails, then comes spiritual intimidation. They attempt to frighten the believer. Dreams become strange. Sleep becomes distorted. Fear is introduced subtly. The goal is not to destroy immediately. It is to silence prayers. If fear succeeds, prayer stops. If prayer stops, access opens. But when the believer understands this strategy and keep praying, intimidation backfires, fear loses its grip, authority grows stronger. Another thing they do is that they attack consistency, not faith. They don't always aim to stop you from believing God. They aim to make you tired, busy, distracted, offended, and prayerless. They know one truth very well. Answered prayers comes from sustained prayers. So they introduce weariness, emotional exhaustion, conflict, minor offenses, anything that reduces spiritual focus. This is why Jesus said, watch and pray. Watching exposes distraction before it matures. When this fails, witches attempt relationship warfare. There's still misunderstanding around the praying believer's spouse, pastors, friends, co-workers. Their aim is isolate or emotionally drain the believer. They understand that agreement strengthens prayer and disunity weakens spiritual covering. But when a believer responds with wisdom instead of reaction, the trap collapses. At a certain point, something dangerous happens to the kingdom of darkness. Backlash. Operations begin to recoil. The energy sent out returns. Sickness appears. Fear enters their camp. Losses occur and accidents increases. That backlash is one of the clearest signs that a believer's prayer has crossed a line they cannot undo. Scripture confirms it. The Bible says he made a pit and falleth into it. This is when mockery turns into fear. So witches begin to withdraw spiritually, not because they want to, but because continuing becomes costly. Protection around the believer becomes too strong. Angels are too active, and at this point, access points are sealed. In this case, they mark such believer as covered, dangerous, or not worth the sacrifice. This is a level every believer must reach. Finally, he revealed something shocking, that when prayer consistently breaks oppressions, assignments are reassigned or abandoned. Darkness does not fight battle it cannot win forever. When resistance is too strong, they move on. This is why scripture boldly declares, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. It does not say weapon will not be formed. It says they will not succeed. Child of God, prayer does not just block witchcraft. Prayer exposes, exalts, and expels it. But it is not casual prayers, not emotional prayers, not inconsistent prayers, but they are scripture-based prayers. Prayers done persistently with holy living and spiritual awareness. When this aligns, witchcraft loses power, loses access, and loses interest. If you are praying and resistance is increasing, don't panic. It is often a sign that something is breaking. Keep praying, keep watching, and keep standing. Light always overcomes darkness. God bless you. Thank you for watching. If you're new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and leave your comments in the comment section. God bless you.